Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome back. Today I have for you my take on changes that I feel PvP needs the most. Changes I believe would be highly impactful, which can make PvP far more enjoyable. I am also begun streaming over on Twitch at twitch.tv/TaichoSalamander. I will drop community posts before I go live in PvP. Enjoy today's video and consider subscribing if it is your first time here. Let's jump right into it. One of my biggest issues with Final Fantasy PvP Frontline right now is how it promotes throwing and negative behavior, which also then rewards the very same players. Hence the term XP farmers, who only sign up to get their free daily XP. And then there are even those who put effort into trying to end games faster by allowing the enemy team to kill them, and will typically type in chat, with callouts with the intent on making the team lose faster. Some even go so far as to sabotage commanders. They will put up all of this effort just to avoid actually playing a match. And it is one of those of why do we reward the players who don't even want to play PvP? And as a PvP player, I can tell you that most of us do not care about wins or losses. We care about the quality and the enjoyment of a match. Now, the throwing aspect in order to earn XP can never truly be removed, but I think it can be drastically changed by giving the XP farmers a reason to put more effort into a round. Here is my idea as an example. The first place team earns 1 million XP, 500k for second place, and 250k for third. The XP earned for third place needs to be low to discourage players who only show up for the XP. As I have heard from actual XP farmers, their exact words were, the XP is just too good to pass up on. To then still make matches worth it for XP, the top 10 players on every team should receive an XP multiplier, with the biggest bonus going to the top 5 on every team. And then to help equalize this further, there needs to be XP multipliers for damage done, damage taken, and healing done. This way, for example, if you played support and focused heavily on the healing aspect, you would get a nice boost to your XP earned from hitting high healing numbers. The same goes for tanking. Many can engage well and make plays for the team, while oftentimes not getting many kills or high damage. But their damage taken is in the millions, proving they were doing what a tank does best in creating space. So that is my overall idea. Make the base XP for a loss low and potentially not worth it, unless as the player, you put some effort in to earn a top 10 slot, or XP multipliers from damage done, taken and healing done. This would bring less throwers to PvP who are just there for the XP, and overall there would be many more comeback wins. The next change I would like to see is a rework to both Dancer and Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is a terrible role as a solo player, and as a group it can dominate the meta as a pre-made, for their ability to pull targets together. This is due to their Salted Earth. Other than that, the role really does not do anything. So here is my idea for the Dark Knight, starting with the Salted Earth. We make it bigger and increase the pull radius, as the Salted Earth is the most beloved part of playing Dark Knight. We then increase the cooldown to something along the lines of 45 seconds. That way, it's really only once per fight you are on edge looking for the Dark Knight pre-mates, who usually sit around waiting for you and the other team to begin battle before they rush in. Next, their damage increase as their health drops should remain, and in fact should be buffed further. However, the HP cost of select actions should be removed. This would make the Dark Knight far more threatening, especially when their health gets low. The reason being, currently the time to kill is so fast, it does not make any sense to punish the Dark Knight further, with a HP cost to big damage. And thirdly, I would love to see a new system to the Dark Knight that works similar to the Reaper's Souls of Immortal Sacrifice, that would also be tied to a brand new ranged ability. I am thinking their old school action, the Abyssal Drain. Give it a decent 20 to 25 yard range and a 7 to 8 yard radius, and it should deal damage kind of like the Scholar's Bio with tick damage. That damage is then applied to the Dark Knight as healing with every tick. Then have the damage remain the same, then increase the healing potency affected by stacks. For example, I will call these Dark Dealing, which could go up to, let's say, 20 stacks. You would obtain 1 for every player pulled with your Salted Earth. This puts more risk reward into going in for those bigger pulls, which in turn would buff your following pull, which would increase your self-healing for the next Salted Earth pull, if you were to engage with Abyssal Drain first, whilst at the same time being at your most vulnerable going for those big plays. And with Salted Earth being on a bigger 45-second cooldown, the Abyssal Drain could work as a throw-out skill in order to survive and deal damage. At the same time, they should increase the damage of their solo abilities. That way, the Dark Knight can then alternate between powerful team setups, then shift into a solo playstyle. With decent enough damage, they get stronger as they weaken. Let me know what you think of this idea, as my idea is to maintain the beloved portion of the Dark Knight and make it stronger, whilst increasing the solo potential, whilst applying a much needed ranged option. Now onto the Dancer, which I find to be in a weird state. On one hand, they have the strongest limit break going, as landed with a Dark Knight port is just a 14 wipe, and then the majority of their kit is tied to a 15 yarm reach. That's a big problem. Not only can every other range roll light you up, long before you yourself are within range, tank and midi gap closers have a 20 yarm reach. This means every tank and midi roll with a gap closer can dive you with half of your damage kit being offline. Now the biggest fix ideally needs to be, I would say, a completely new limit break. Since their limit break is so powerful in a pre-made setting, their remaining kit stays lackluster. What I would love to see is more complexity brought to the role with their dance partner. Keep the same dance partner we currently have, and play more into their Dance of the Dawn, which requires your dance partner to gain a kill. With this, they should expand the kit further, being able to apply a second version of dance partner to a target. So your main dance partner obtains a kill, then you could apply a second timed dance partner to another player, which could last for something around 20 seconds. And should this new dance partner also obtain a kill, you can then apply a third one. So in sum, you would have one true main dance partner and up to 2 bonus dance partners, which work under a time setting. All dance partners would receive the benefits from the select actions, essentially making the Dancer the Scholar of DPS, where you play highly supportive. Their 15 yarm range actions need boosting to at least 20 yarms, to then be on par with gap closers. Their new limit break could ideally be something to work with your dance partners. The new limit break could be something to do with enhancing dance partners further, or at the very least, if they keep the current version, remove the ability to seduce targets under guard. That way good players can react and defend themselves, which at the very least means you force out guard. Whereas the guard break from a Reaper's Hysteria should remain, as their radius is smaller and forces players to walk away. You have a much higher chance to survive, compared to the Dancer's current limit break. Next, let's talk about the maps, starting with Seal Rock. Firstly, 700 score is not enough to go against pre-made teams. Having this smaller score to work with means you have less time to go off earning battle highs. It worked so well back when the score was first to 1600, but this current version I feel needs to be at least 1000. That gives solo players time to catch up. Secondly is the big issue of the north spawn camping. This happens for 2 main reasons, the first of which is the Tomoliths do not activate fast enough, and with the level design, south mainly push to the north, while the cave team push east able to flank from north and mid. This leaves north in the struggle to engage one team, with the need to win that fight fast before the cave team joins in. That then turns into a retreat fallback, further and further back to spawn. And that is the second issue. The spawn is too far back. Combine that with the rock face and barricades to the right of the spawn. This allows one team to camp outside, while the south team continue to push in. To fix this, the Tomoliths need to activate in half the time. The north spawn needs to be moved closer in, and the camping spot to the right needs reworking. The final thing would be to rebalance the chance on how Tomoliths spawn. Far too often the cave gets stacked with nodes which could be balanced better, including a possible reshape to the cave ramp Tomolith. They already have 3 very easily defendable nodes, and having an extra mid node that allows the cave team to bunker down and to even use it as a powerful advantage against the low ground Tomolith often wins rounds. Next, Shatter. While it is currently the best map version it has ever been, it misses the forced combat of the old map. That is unless teams typically flank with commanders to force battles, which again plays into the XP farmer situation, resulting in players crying about PvP players PvPing in a PvP mode, since they cannot stand still and auto-attack the ice over and over. Changes I would like to see is the first ice of every round be the midpoint, an even start that promotes fighting, with that chance to earn early battle highs. And once all 3 outer crystals have been destroyed, there needs to be some form of downtime, before the next rotation of large ice on the outer area can be respawned. This will help fight against the mindless ice lickers just running from ice to ice, which we all know far too well, that if you are stuck on one of those teams you lose 90% of the time, as most ice lickers do not understand that if you have high battle high, you do more damage. That also means destroying the ice faster, as well as easier team fights. Basically, overall, we need less objective uptime. There needs to be downtime to switch from objectives to have moments of raw combat. On Sohaker, I have no issues with. It is my favorite map, pure chaos and enjoyment. So my final map to be adjusted is the Borderland Ruins. I love this map for the forced combat up top, and the environmentals make for some fun and beautiful plays. My one issue is the 2-minute downtime after mid is complete. If your team captured most of the nodes around the map, to the left and right of your spawn, after returning from mid, there is nothing to do in that downtime, if both enemy teams are busy engaged across the map. That or both enemy teams engage from both sides in a 2v1 spawn fight until the next midpoint. My one change would be to shorten the downtime stage from 2 minutes to 1 minute 30. That would make those outer fights faster, and more precise on team decision making, shortens spawn camping, and reduces the time before the next mid-fight is up, which is also the best aspect of that map. Now another big change I have in mind would be a huge quality of life update to both PvE and PvP, the battle effect settings. Right now we have the options for Show All, Show Limited, and Show None. Each of these needs a brand new advanced drop-down menu that shows all roles. You can then select the role you want, and are presented with all PvP actions, or PvE actions under the PvP settings. Then you can manually toggle on and off which actions you want to see visually. Now I have a very good example for this. Take the Machinist. Before the changes to the hit detection system, you could not guard against their marksman smite unless you predicted the attack first. Since the changes, you can now react and guard up. Those of you who regularly watch my videos see me catch it all the time. The problem is marksman smite marker only shows up under show all effects rather than some, which is why as the player, if we could pick and choose which actions we visually want to see on each role, that would be a massive quality of life improvement. For example, I do not need to see half of the Monk's kit from enemy players, but I would like to see the Rising Phoenix to know they are damage boosted, and the animation for Earth's Reply to know they are now vulnerable. Now I cannot talk systems without bringing up the party list itself. Again, this could be a wonderful change for both PvE and PvP as a whole, that would also improve the macro system. Why do we still not have the ability to drag and move the order of the player list? If we can move the list, that makes targeting much easier. For example, I could have Bunny in slot 2 and Laurie in slot 8. Meaning if I press up on my controller, I target Laurie who is in slot 8, and if I press down, I target Bunny in slot 2. Being able to order players how we like means you can use the macro targeting system better, since you can target players based on the number in the party list. Overall, just a very simple yet effective quality of life change. There is an option to do so from opening the party members list, but when you're active on the field, it would be nice to just click and drag with a mouse, or to press square on a controller and select the option move up or down. My final PvP change is to do with the achievement system. For a lot of us, there is nothing left to grind for, but players do enjoy the grind. Which brings me onto the topic of the feast seasons and their rewards. All those armor sets and mounts could be turned into PvP achievement rewards. Some could be tied to select map wins, and others for kills, assists, maybe objectives captured and destroyed, and even things like limit break kills. My point being is there is a huge haul of PvP rewards just sitting there that could be added as a grind to PvP as a whole. Now a lot of you are probably saying that those were rewards for the top 100 of every season. That right there is my problem. Top 100 holds zero value in Final Fantasy. Ever since the very first feast season, cheating has run rampant. I do not think there has been a single season where there's been under 50% of the top 100 who were not cheating. Even to date, Crystalline Conflict top ranks are flooded with win trading. I myself experienced this firsthand in the final season of Feast before 6.1 to get the Dreadnought mount, the mass amount of AFK win trading and the abusive messages after every match. And I even witnessed the player Plum Druff, who was top 3 in every season, openly discussing with players at the Wolves Den Pier how she wanted them to gatekeep the higher rank to keep players out of top 100, and that she would be paying them to do so. So Yoshi P and the dev team, it is time to say fuck it. The top 100 PvP listings has been a monumental fail every single season, so it is time to introduce all those wonderful gear sets and mounts as PvP achievements for the community to grind. That alone would bring a large amount of regulars back to PvP for those spicy rewards. And there you have my top listings for PvP changes I would like to see. There are more smaller things to change, but today's listings are what I would like to see the most. Leave a comment down below whether or not you agree with my takes. And if you are new here, be sure to subscribe for more PvP content. Thank you all for tuning in, enjoy your day, and I shall see you all in the next one.